There comes a season in every chosen woman's life where the noise begins to fade, not because the world itself has gone quiet, or because circumstances have suddenly become still, but because something much deeper within you is shifting. Your soul is being gently but firmly pulled inward. It is almost as if an invisible hand is guiding your attention away from the external and redirecting it toward a deeper, more sacred internal space. This experience can feel confusing at first, especially in a world that constantly celebrates noise, activity, and connection. You may find yourself questioning why things that once brought excitement or comfort no longer hold the same energy. But understand this clearly. This is not loneliness, and it is not rejection. It is divine orchestration unfolding in a way that your human mind may not fully comprehend yet. God is calling you into a deeper place, a place where distractions lose their power over you, and your spirit becomes more sensitive, more aware, and more attuned to His voice. You may have noticed subtle but undeniable changes. Conversations that once energized you now feel draining or empty. Environments that once felt normal now seem overwhelming or misaligned. And even relationships that once felt deeply connected now carry a sense of distance or dissonance. This is not confusion or instability. This is elevation happening in real time. Your soul is outgrowing spaces, patterns, and energies that no longer match who you are becoming. And this inward pull is the first sign that something greater is unfolding within you. This season of silence is sacred in ways that are difficult to fully grasp until you surrender to it. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, even unsettling, because you are being separated from what is familiar, and familiarity often creates a false sense of security. The routines, the conversations, the interactions you once relied on begin to fade, leaving behind a quiet space that can feel unfamiliar and even intimidating. But within that discomfort lies something powerful and transformative. Understand this deeply. God does His deepest and most profound work in stillness. When He desires to transform a chosen woman, He does not do it in crowded spaces filled with noise, opinions, and distractions. He does it in quiet places where your identity can no longer be shaped by external validation, societal expectations, or the constant need for approval. In this sacred silence, something extraordinary begins to happen. You are not being emptied or stripped away. You are being refined, purified, and realigned. Layers of who you thought you had to be begin to fall away, revealing who you truly are beneath all the conditioning. This is a process that cannot be rushed, and it cannot happen in chaos. It requires stillness, patience, and trust. The silence you are experiencing is not a void. It is a sacred container where transformation is taking place at a level far deeper than what is visible on the surface. There is a reason why you feel withdrawn lately, a reason why your energy seems to naturally pull away from certain people, conversations, and environments without you even trying to force it. This is not something random or accidental. It is intentional and divinely guided. God is actively removing the unnecessary voices that have been influencing your thoughts, your decisions, and your sense of direction. For a long time, you may have been surrounded by constant input, opinions, advice, expectations, and noise that made it difficult to hear your own inner guidance clearly. But you cannot receive divine direction with clarity when your mind is filled with external interference. This silence is not punishment, and it is not something to fear. It is protection in its purest form. It is God shielding your mind, your heart, and your spirit from confusion so that you can finally hear what truly matters without distortion. In this quiet space, you begin to recognize which thoughts are truly yours and which ones were influenced by others. You begin to separate truth from illusion, clarity from confusion. This process may feel isolating at times, but it is actually creating the conditions necessary for alignment. What is being removed is not meant to harm you, it is meant to free you, and what remains will be stronger, clearer, and more aligned with your true purpose. You may feel like you are losing people during this time, like connections are slipping away or relationships are becoming distant without clear explanation. This can be one of the most challenging aspects of this season because human connection is something we naturally hold on to. But what feels like loss is actually repositioning. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next level, and not every connection is designed to last forever. Some people enter your life for a specific season, to teach you something, to support you in a particular phase, or to help you grow in ways you may not even realize at the time. And once that purpose has been fulfilled, their role naturally comes to an end. This does not mean they were not important or meaningful. It simply means their assignment in your life is complete. God is not taking away what you need. He is removing what you have outgrown. Holding on to what no longer aligns with you can actually delay your growth and keep you anchored in a version of yourself that you are meant to evolve beyond. This silence is creating space for new opportunities, new connections, and new levels of understanding that are aligned with who you are becoming. It may not feel comfortable, but it is necessary. Trust that what is meant for you will remain, and what is leaving is making room for something greater. In this season, you will notice a subtle but powerful shift within yourself. Your desire to explain who you are, to justify your decisions, or to seek validation from others begins to fade naturally. It is not something you force, it simply happens as you grow. You start to realize that not everyone is meant to understand your journey, and more importantly, they do not need to. This realization is not rooted in arrogance or detachment, but in a deeper sense of self-awareness and inner security. A chosen woman who is in alignment with her purpose does not chase understanding or approval from others because she understands that her truth is not dependent on external validation. She walks in her truth quietly, confidently, and consistently, even when she is misunderstood. This is where silence transforms into strength. Instead of feeling the need to defend yourself or prove your worth, you begin to conserve your energy and direct it inward, where it can be used for growth and alignment. Silence becomes a form of protection, a boundary that allows you to maintain your peace without unnecessary conflict. You begin to understand that not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected, not every opinion needs to be challenged, and not every conversation needs to be engaged in. This is growth at a deep level, where your sense of identity is no longer fragile or dependent on others' perceptions. God is teaching you to become comfortable with stillness, because stillness is where revelation lives, where truth becomes clear, and where deeper understanding begins to unfold naturally. In a world that constantly encourages movement, noise, and distraction, stillness can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable at first. But within that stillness lies a level of clarity that cannot be accessed in chaos. When everything slows down, when the distractions fade, and when the noise quiets, you begin to see things differently. Patterns that were once hidden become obvious. Situations that once confused you begin to make sense. Truth, in its purest form, becomes undeniable. And the things you once tolerated, the behaviors you once accepted, and the environments you once felt comfortable in begin to feel misaligned and even unbearable. This is not increased sensitivity. It is discernment awakening within you. You are beginning to see with clarity, to feel with depth, and to understand with wisdom. This level of awareness is a gift, even if it feels overwhelming at times. It is guiding you away from what no longer serves you and toward what aligns with your higher purpose. Stillness is not emptiness. It is a space where everything becomes clear. There will be moments in this season where the silence feels heavy, almost overwhelming, as if the quiet itself carries a weight you cannot fully explain. In those moments, your mind may begin to wander, and questions may arise. Questions about whether you are being forgotten, overlooked, or somehow left behind while the rest of the world continues moving forward. It is in these moments that doubt can try to creep in, making you question the very process you are going through. But you must understand this deeply and hold on to it with unwavering faith. God does not isolate you to abandon you. He does not pull you away from the noise only to leave you in emptiness. He isolates you to prepare you. There is a purpose behind every moment of stillness, even when you cannot immediately see it. Every great transformation, every powerful elevation, requires a period of separation before it can fully manifest. Just as seeds are buried in darkness before they grow, you too are in a phase where something is developing beneath the surface. This is not a season of loss, it is a season of preparation. And while it may feel like nothing is happening, everything is happening in ways you cannot yet perceive. This is the season where your inner voice begins to rise above all external noise, becoming clearer, stronger, and more trustworthy than ever before. You may start to notice that your intuition speaks to you in ways that feel undeniable, guiding you without the need for constant reassurance or confirmation from others. This is a powerful shift because for so long, you may have relied on external validation to make decisions, seeking advice, opinions, or approval before trusting your own instincts. But now, something within you is changing. Your spirit is beginning to guide you more powerfully than logic alone ever could. You are learning to trust what you feel, even when it does not make sense to others, even when it cannot be explained in words. This is divine alignment taking place within you. It is the process of reconnecting with your inner knowing, the part of you that has always been connected to truth, but may have been overshadowed by noise and doubt. As this connection strengthens, you will find that you no longer feel the need to ask for permission to follow your path. You simply know, and that knowing becomes enough. You are also being taught the quiet but profound power of restraint during this season. In a world that encourages constant expression, immediate reaction, and endless communication, learning when to remain silent becomes a rare and valuable form of wisdom. You begin to understand that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every emotion needs to be expressed outwardly, and not every situation requires your response. There is a strength in holding your peace, in observing rather than reacting, in choosing your words carefully rather than speaking impulsively. This is not suppression, it is mastery. It is the ability to control your energy rather than allowing your energy to be controlled by external circumstances. Silence in this context is not emptiness, it is power under control. It is the discipline of knowing when to engage and when to step back, when to speak, and when to remain still. As you develop this skill, you will notice a shift in how others perceive you as well. Your presence becomes more grounded, more intentional, and more impactful. When you do choose to speak, your words carry weight because they are not wasted on unnecessary noise. As you continue to embrace this quiet season, you will begin to notice a significant shift in your energy, one that feels both subtle and powerful at the same time. You may find yourself feeling more grounded, more centered within yourself, and more aware of your surroundings in a way that you were not before. The chaos that once disrupted your peace, the situations that once triggered emotional reactions, and the environments that once drained your energy will begin to lose their influence over you. It is not that life has suddenly become easier or that challenges have disappeared, but rather that you have become stronger, more stable, and more rooted within yourself. This is what it means to become unshakable. It is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about developing the inner strength to remain steady in the face of it. This transformation does not happen overnight, and it is not always comfortable, but it is deeply powerful. You are becoming someone who is no longer easily moved by external circumstances, someone who can maintain peace even when everything around you feels uncertain. God is also doing a deep and necessary work of healing within you during this time, a kind of healing that cannot take place in distraction or noise. The silence you are experiencing is creating space for unresolved emotions, buried wounds, and unacknowledged truths to rise to the surface. This process can feel intense at times because it requires you to face parts of yourself that you may have avoided or suppressed. But this is not happening to hurt you, it is happening to release you. Healing is not always gentle. It can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is always purposeful. The emotions that surface are not there to overwhelm you, they are there to be understood, processed, and ultimately let go. This is your soul being restored, piece by piece, layer by layer. It is a process of becoming whole again, of reclaiming parts of yourself that may have been lost or hidden over time. In this stillness, you are given the opportunity to truly heal, not just on the surface, but at a deep, transformative level. You may find yourself comparing your journey to others during this season, especially when it seems like those around you are moving forward, achieving milestones, or making visible progress while you remain in this quiet and introspective phase. It can create the illusion that you are falling behind, that somehow you are not keeping up with the pace of life. But this perception is not the truth. What you cannot see is that your foundation is being rebuilt in a way that is far stronger and more stable than before. God is not focused on how quickly you move, He is focused on how firmly you stand. Speed without stability leads to collapse, but a strong foundation creates lasting success. This is why your process may feel slower, more internal, and less visible to others. You are being prepared for something that requires depth, strength, and resilience. When your time to rise comes, it will not be temporary or fragile. It will be sustainable, grounded, and aligned with your true purpose. This season of silence is also deepening your connection with God in ways that are subtle yet profoundly transformative. Without the constant noise of the outside world, you begin to recognize His presence in ways you may have overlooked before. It is no longer about loud signs or obvious messages. It becomes about the quiet, almost unnoticeable moments, a thought that feels guided, a sense of peace that arrives without explanation, a feeling of knowing that does not require proof. This is how God speaks when the world is quiet. You are learning to listen differently, to pay attention to what cannot be seen but can be deeply felt. This connection is becoming more personal, more intimate, and more real. It is no longer something external that you seek. It becomes something internal that you experience. And as this connection strengthens, so does your sense of direction, your clarity, and your trust in the path you are on. There is a unique and powerful type of confidence that is born in silence, one that is very different from the loud, attention-seeking confidence often displayed in the world. This is a quiet confidence, an inner certainty that does not need to be announced or validated by others. It is something that can be felt rather than seen, something that is carried in your presence, in the way you move, speak, and exist. As you continue through this season, you will begin to embody this confidence naturally. You will notice that you no longer feel the need to prove yourself, to compete for attention, or to seek approval. Instead, you carry yourself with a calm assurance that comes from knowing who you are and where you are going. This kind of confidence is unshakable because it is not dependent on external circumstances. It is built from within through experience, growth, and alignment. You are not being hidden during this time, even though it may feel that way at moments. There is a significant difference between being hidden and being prepared. Being hidden implies neglect, absence, or lack of attention, but preparation implies intention, purpose, and careful development. God is working on parts of you that are not yet meant to be seen by the world. These are the internal shifts, the character development, the emotional strengthening, and the spiritual alignment that will support you when you step into your next level. Just because others cannot see what is happening does not mean nothing is happening. In fact, the most important work is often done in private, away from the eyes of others. When the time comes for you to step forward, everything you have gone through in this silent season will make sense. It will all come together in a way that feels aligned and purposeful. In this season, you are also learning one of the most powerful lessons of all. detachment. Not detachment from love, connection, or care, but detachment from dependency. You are learning to release the need for constant approval, the need for attention, and the need for reassurance from others in order to feel secure. This is a profound shift because it changes the way you relate to yourself and to the world around you. You begin to understand that your worth is not determined by who chooses to stay in your life or who decides to leave. Your value is not based on external validation. It is rooted in something much deeper and unchanging. This realization brings a sense of freedom that cannot be taken away. You are no longer bound by the expectations or opinions of others. You are free to exist as you are, without needing to be anything else for anyone else. And when this season of silence finally begins to lift, you will notice that you are no longer the same woman who entered it. The transformation may not have been loud or visible, but it is undeniable. You will speak less, but your words will carry more meaning, more intention, and more impact. You will move differently, with a sense of clarity and purpose that was not present before. You will no longer be easily shaken by opinions, distractions, or external pressures because you have developed a level of inner stability that cannot be easily disturbed. The changes within you will reflect in everything you do, from the way you think to the way you interact with the world. This is the result of the work that was done in silence, the growth that took place beneath the surface. So if you feel alone right now, if the silence feels overwhelming or difficult to understand, remind yourself of this truth: you are not alone. You are being called into a deeper version of yourself, one that is more aligned, more aware, and more connected to your purpose. This is not a random phase or an empty space in your life. It is a sacred transition, a movement from one level of being to another. You are being called into alignment, into clarity, into a version of yourself that is ready for what is next. This silence is not empty. It is full of transformation, full of growth, and full of unseen preparation that will soon reveal itself in your life. If this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, understand that this is not coincidence. It is confirmation that you are exactly where you are meant to be in this season of your life. Nothing about your journey is random, and nothing you are experiencing is without purpose. Even the silence you are in right now is part of a greater plan that is unfolding in perfect timing. Embrace this season fully, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels uncertain. Trust the process, trust the stillness, and trust that God is working within you in ways that you may not yet fully understand. Allow yourself to surrender to this transformation without resistance, knowing that everything is aligning for your highest good. And if this message resonated deeply with your spirit, if you felt a sense of recognition or truth within these words, make sure to subscribe for more guidance like this. Also, in the comments section, type 1111 as a sign that you received this message at divine timing, and that you are ready to step fully into your next level of alignment, purpose, and blessings.